All right, sorry about the delay, guys. Can you hear me? Okay, we're gonna get started here. Um, okay, overnight action in the States. So we had another all-time high on the Dow Jones. Very choppy, light volume session. But nonetheless, we managed to drift a little bit higher. We had some, really positive ADP employment numbers yesterday. Factory numbers. I mean, the numbers that have come in the last few days have actually been really positive. So I think there's just a little bit another feather in the bull's caps. So something that we need to pay attention to. The Fed Beige Book also showed that the economy is growing at a modest pace, with most districts showing growth in consumer spending. But they were saying that retail sales has started to take a bit of a knock on potentially on the back of some of these new tax hikes. So something to keep our eyes on. Asia, we had Japan that was also up small, but mostly mixed in Asia, mixed to flat. You can see there we're totally totally mixed in terms of sector plays on the day. We also had the BOJ, who didn't make any new changes as of yesterday in terms of policy, and they're probably going to wait until they get the new BOJ governor in there to start to really get aggressive. All right, we had a lot of earnings out this morning. We had Exaro, which was at the high end of guidance. Bloomberg consensus expectations was much higher than where they came on the trading statement. Nonetheless, the guidance in the trading statement, this is at the high end of the guidance, 1401. The big miss out of the divvy, though, you're expecting 2 Rand 50 on the divvy, only came in at 1 Rand 50, so I think that'll be quite disappointing for Exaro today. And they're saying pigment markets to be soft in first half of 2013, and the equity income to be under pressure in first half as well, but improve in the second half. So I think modestly bearish maybe on the back of the Exaro's earnings. Standard Bank was out as well. Standard Bank was kind of in the middle of its guidance for its trading statement, 9 Rand 41. Bloomberg expectation was for 9 Rand 30, so maybe a little bit of a beat there. But the divvy there was a touch light at 2 Rand 43 versus expectations of 2 Rand 56. I think the big news is that the CEO, Jacques-Marie, is going to retire. And then they also mentioned that the credit loss ratio was reasonably higher than it was previously at 1.08% versus 0.87%. So I think that's to me, I think the market will take everything as a whole out of Standard Bank a bit negatively because of the fact that the divvy was a bit light and the CEO is retiring, credit loss ratios are higher. So I think that's also a bit light there. Sanlam actually had very good numbers, right in line in terms of expectations, but they had a beat in terms of the divvy by 10 cents, and they also have a 50-cent special. So I think that's maybe one of the reasons that we've seen such strength there in Sanlam recently. They're saying group equity value per share is at 37 Rand, so pretty strong results I think out of Sanlam overnight. And then Aspen hasn't given us an official time, but typically between 12:30 and 1:30 they'll be releasing. We're looking at guidance of between 373 and 385. And expectations on the divvy at 2 Rand 20, so just keep those in mind for today when earnings come out. All right, let's look at market data today. We've got SA business confidence at 11:30. We've got German factory orders at 1. The BOE and ECB interest rates. No changes expected there. I would kind of keep my eye slightly on those two numbers today, and the reason why is because I think there is a small outside chance that you could see a move in the ECB, and also this is going to be really the first time that Mark Carney out of the BOE is going to be at the helm, and his mandate right now, the way he's been talking, he's been very dovish. He's actually even talked about raising inflation targets in the UK. So today could be a day for surprises there. If we do get something like that, if you do see a move out of one side or another, let's probably focus on the diversified miners. We'll probably get a nice spike up there, possibly even a move out of the golds, which we saw a good move out of the golds overnight last night. And then in the States later, we've got trade balance and initial jobless claims, the big number there. All right, let's have a jump into the maps here. Okay. First thing I want to look at is, obviously the markets, we didn't get to show this yesterday. We had some technical issues, but we totally broken out here on the Dow. We're obviously at new time highs. You can see how we've sprinted through that. I just wanted to show where we are in terms of global markets, not just the Dow. I mean, you can see the German market is breaking up there. The European markets haven't quite gotten back to the highs of 7. They're not very far off, a few percent, 3-4%. But that's a beautiful breakout there on the DAX. Looks very similar to to what some of our local shares have been breaking out. Very similar pattern. Or we had this start to draw down a little bit, and now we just turned back up and breaking out. I would look at this, that we've got at least another 350 points to go from that breakout in the DAX. Let's have a look at the FTSE also. Why is that not coming up? There we go. There's the FTSE. You can see the FTSE also making a breakout here above 6,400. We're starting to look bullish again in all these markets. We get through. We're getting through a new highs with the Dow. We're getting through a new highs in some of these European markets. I mean, there's nothing but air above these levels, so I think it's really important. This is not probably the time to looking to be picking shorts. All right, True Worths. I wanted to show True Worths here on a 30-day. You can see how important this 96 level is. When we came down and tested that originally, bounced back up all the way to around 108, and we came down and failed. We held 196 as support for a little bit. We got just above it, just got below it, couldn't get above it. We broke down hard, traded all the way to $92. We've pushed right back up to this 96 level, and we've been kind of on both sides of the 96 level within 20-30 cents on both sides of it the last couple of days. I think this is a very big level. I think if we move through 96 to the upside, I think we're trading straight to 101. And I think if we end up failing here, we could see us retest the low. So big level to watch out for in True Worths over the next little while. All right, let's look at Impalas. Wish I would have been able to show you guys on this one. We'll also look at a 30-day. I wanted to show this one yesterday. You can see here, it's amazing how vertical this chart looks because of the breakdown that we've had. But right at $37 has been the bottom end of this little, has been the real level that we've got to focus on. We traded around it. I think this is for about a week and a half. We bottomed out to around 137. When we broke down down below it, it got ugly. Traded all the way to straight down to $32. Then we had the big bounce day before yesterday up to 37. Yesterday morning, you could have sold it out around 37.5. Traded up there for about the first 25 minutes. Couldn't hold it and broke down quite nicely off the back of that. Same sort of thing today. Obviously, we got to pop out of some of the gold miners today or last night in the U.S. Gold and platinum traded a lot better last night. This is something I'd like to make a big focus for the intraday guys today. Around 137 could be some nice plays. If we can't get above 137, then I think we need to short it. But if we can get above it and just hold it for a little bit, it could be a time to establish a long in CFDs. The one thing I will say is that if we can't get above 137 today, I really believe we're going to come back down and retest the lows at 125. So a big one to watch in Impalas. Billiton, just wanted to make note that we kind of closed right at this 285 level, which is a big resistance. If we look at it on 30-day, you can also see how when we got to a 285 right there, we broke below. You can see how significant this level is. It's amazing to look back at the levels that we point out and see how they reflect so well. You can see there we tried at 85 on the downside, couldn't get through it. As it got through, it broke down badly, traded straight in a straight line to 276, came back up, retested 285 and broke down again to 272. So this is really the line in the sand here. Billiton's at 285. Let's watch it really closely if we and wait for the break away from the level to really get aggressive. All right, I want to show Mr. Price on a longer term chart here at 116. 116, big level of Mr. Price. You can see how significant that level is. You know, we talked about that for a long time. If we zoom forward into it a little bit so we can see it a touch better, where are we? Yeah, right around there. You can see we've just managed to get above that 116 level again and close above that. So I think it's it's a very important level for us to watch. If we can stay above 116, I think it can really be a bullish signal for some of these other retailers, because it's the first one of these to really regain a very significant level. All right, MTN. I want to show MTN. I really like the chart setup here in MTN. I'm actually gonna take us forward a little bit here, shorten this up so we can see it a little bit better. And I'm gonna work off of closing levels. You know, we can always work off wicks. I'm not a big wick guy. But basically, we're looking for a close below what comes in right around 176. If we get a close below 176 today in MTN, or if we're trading generously below that early on, I fully believe that we will see us test down to this support level at 170. So for me, this is a very good risk trade here. If we get below 176, I think it's a breakdown on trendline support here in MTN, and I think we'll see a trade to 170. Obviously, we know that poor earnings yesterday. I think the really big thing to focus on is that most of these stocks, when they've been on the back of earnings, have been really hard to trade on the day of earnings, because there's just been there's a whole lot of day traders that are kind of punting around, and you don't really start to see the big flows out of the Alan Grays and the Coronations of the world until the next day. I don't know if these guys have sit down in a boardroom for that evening to make a decision after they look through earnings, but it typically takes them a couple days to make the play. You can remember back earlier in the last month to Impalas, when Impalas broke down like that on the second day. The first day did nothing. The second and third day after earnings, they got hit about 4 and 5% those next 2 days. There's been several of those stocks. If we get below 176 on a closing basis, MTN, I think we're looking at 170. All right, let's look at Lawnman. Lawnman, we sent this one out on Twitter yesterday. Very big level at 45 here. We got below it intraday for a little bit, kind of a false break. We didn't manage to close. Remember, we're working off of closing levels here, so it wasn't a real break. We didn't really break below that level, but this is a very classic head and shoulder pattern here. All the other platinums are weak. Our expected platinums are weak again today. This will give the 45 level, but an important one to watch for. We get below that, I would look at a target of about somewhere between 39 and 40 bucks as a target on Lawnman if we can break below 45 on a closing basis. So that's a good one to watch over the next couple of days as well. And the last one I'm going to show here is just Woolworths and how we've traded right back up. Yesterday closed basically exactly at 69.20. Kind of a bad line there, but bottom line is that's the level. It's the recent highs from all these breakdowns and from the breakdowns in the retailers. When this thing cliffed up from 72 to 62 or 60, 64, 63 in 3 days. This is the recent high from that. So it's a test of that recent high at 69.20. So if we fail here, this is going to be a place where we're going to want to, if you're looking for a breakout play, if it gets below 69.20, you can play it on the long side. And that's it for today, guys. Thanks a lot.